Okay, picture this. It's early 2026. You've finally decided you're going to pull the trigger on that video podcast you've been thinking about for years.
Mm-hmm.
You have a vision. It's a full 50-minute weekly deep dive, a real conversation. You want to build some authority, an audience, and you want it to look professional.
The kind of thing that actually holds someone's attention in a world full of scrolling.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So naturally, you look at the tech out there and you think, okay, I'm not going to rent a physical studio. That's old school. I'm going to use these incredible new AI video generators.
Right. No commute, no cameras, no messing with lights, just pure digital.
You assume you were about to save an absolute fortune.
And why wouldn't you? It's the default assumption. We've been trained for, 20 years to believe that digital is always cheaper. Bits are cheaper than atoms. That's like the first rule of the internet.
But that is the crap. And that is the central conflict we are really unpacking today. We're looking at a financial showdown between two completely different models for long-form content.
And honestly, the results of this analysis, they completely flipped my understanding of where the value really is in 2026.
It's a classic case of hidden costs versus upfront costs.
Mm-hmm.
So on one side, you have the time in the room model. This is represented by a physical competitor called Voxel Micro Video Labs.
And on the other side, the compute per minute model. That's how all the big AI video generators, how they operate.
Yep. We've got the 2026 pricing sheets for Voxel, and we're stacking them up against the cost breakdowns for LTX Studio, vidBoard, Deep Brain AI, and the heavy hitters like Sora and Veo.
And our mission today is pretty simple, to show you that while AI is this incredible cost cutter for, say, a 15-second TikTok clip, when you stretch that out to 50 minutes, the math, it breaks.
It doesn't just break, it completely inverts. So let's get into it. We've organized this deep dive into three main buckets. First, the resurgence of the physical model with Voxel's lift-to-tape economy.
Mm-hmm.
Second, the reality of the AI pricing tiers, because an avatar is not a cinematic scene, and we really need to stop pretending they're the same thing.
That is a crucial distinction.
And third, this is the part that actually surprised me the most, the hidden refinement penalties. The reasons why that AI video might actually be 10 times more expensive than just walking into a physical room.
That's where the budget just bleeds out. It's kind of like the old printer ink model, but for video generation.
Okay, so let's start with the physical contender. Voxel Micro Video Labs. The sources describe their whole model as time in the room. Now, to me, renting a studio sounds expensive. You've got overhead, real estate, staff.
Right.
But I'm looking at these 2026 launch rates, and I honestly had to double-check them.
They are aggressively low. But you have to understand the business model. You're not paying for the asset itself. You're just paying for the time slot.
Okay, so walk me through their entry level, the Velocity Starter package.
Sure. So this is ideally suited for a solo podcaster or maybe a one-on-one interview. It's a 50-square-foot sound-treated booth. It comes with 2 Pro 4K cameras. And we're talking actual cinema-grade sensors here, not webcams.
Right.
And it has professional 3-point lighting that is already dialed in. It's ready to go.
And the price tag on that is?
$30.
$30 for the session. That's a salad and a coffee in 2026. How's that even sustainable for a studio? Is it a broom closet?
It's small, yeah, but it's high tech. The sustainability comes from utilization. Think of it like a gym membership model for production. They rely on people coming in, doing their 50 minutes, and leaving.
Ah, so there's no setup time.
Exactly. That's the whole micro video lab concept. Usually, if you rent a studio, you're renting an empty shell, right? You spend the first hour setting up light stands, testing mics, trying to get that weird shadow off your face.
And you're paying for that hour, the setup hour.
You're paying for it. At Voxel, the lights are literally bolted in place. The mics are leveled. You walk in, you hit a button, and the meter starts running. You are only paying for the capture time.
Okay, and if you need more space, I see they have a momentum builder tier here.
That's $45. That gets you space for up to 4 people. So if you have a couple of guests and a co-host, and it adds a third camera angle.
And even their top tier, the Global Leader Suite. It's like 400 square feet, cinematic, for panels.
Yeah.
That's only $140.
Or $40, yeah.
So even at the absolute, top of the line, you are spending under $150 for an hour of professional production.
Correct.
But here's the thing I need to push on. The raw footage is one thing, but usually the real cost isn't just the filming, it's what happens after. The sources keep mentioning this term, live to tape.
This is their economic secret weapon. Live-to-tape is an old TV term, but they've automated it. It basically means you are recording the show exactly as it will be broadcast.
How does that work?
Because Voxel has all the audio processing, compression, noise gating, EQ, and the color grading built right into the capture pipeline. So the file you get when you walk out is like 95% done.
Which matters
because post-production is where the money usually just burns. We have a breakdown here on podcast editing costs, and it's pretty stark.
Right. The source notes that for a high-quality video podcast, all the editing, color correction, sound mixing, that usually eats up 50 to 60% of the entire budget.
Exactly. So if you eliminate the need to fix it in post because the lighting was perfect and the audio is clean from the start, you haven't just saved on the studio rental. You've slashed your post-production bill in half.
Okay, that makes a ton of sense. It's all about efficiency.
Oh.
But there's one more feature of the physical studio that I think we all take for granted until we compare it to AI.
Oh, yeah. The retake economy.
The retake economy.
Right.
In a physical studio, retakes are, well, they're financially invisible.
So if I mess up this line right now.
You just say it again.
And it costs me.
What?
$0. Nothing. You've rented the time. Whether you spend that 50 minutes nailing it in one take, or you spend it stumbling through the intro 20 times, the price is flat. The studio does not care how efficient you are.
Retakes are free. Okay, I want to pin that up on the wall because I have a feeling that is about to change dramatically when we cross over to the digital side.
It changes everything.
All right, so let's pivot to the challenger then. AI video generation. Now, I want to be fair here. AI video isn't just one thing. The sources are very clear that there are two pretty distinct tiers.
Yeah, and it's crucial not to mix them up. You have the avatar tier, and then you have the cinematic tier.
Let's start with the avatars. This is your vidBoard, your deep brain AI, Synthesia, that kind of stuff.
This is the entry level. It's where you type in a script, and a photorealistic but still very static avatar just stands there and lip syncs to it.
And looking at the pricing, I mean, it is competitive.
It is. If you run the numbers for a 50-minute video on these platforms, you're looking at anywhere from about $25 to maybe $107.
So strictly on a sticker price basis, the low-end AI is fighting in the exact same weight class as the Voxel Studio. $30 versus $25.
On paper, yes. But then we have to talk about the quality.
The sources were pretty blunt on this.
Synthetic was the word that kept coming up. Look, for a corporate training video on a new HR policy, perfect. For a quick daily news update, great. But for a 50-minute podcast?
It is tough to watch.
It's just flat. There's no breath. There are no micro expressions. It lacks that, that biological chaos that makes a human face interesting to look at for an hour.
So if we want that real filmed look, if we want the cinematic lighting, the dynamic camera movement, the stuff that looks like it could be on Netflix, we have to go to Tier B.
The cinematic AI. This is your Google VO3, OpenAI, Sora, LTX Studio.
And this is where the math just goes completely off the rails.
It really, really does.
I'm looking at the estimated cost for a 50-minute narrative using high-end cinematic AI. The number here is $1,500.
Give or take. Yeah, it works out to roughly $30 per minute.
Wait, let's just pause on that. Voxel is $30 for the entire session.
The whole 50 minutes, yep.
And high-end AI is $30 per minute.
Correct.
That is just a massive discrepancy. I think most people assume AI is software is cheap. Why is this compute per minute model so astronomically expensive for long-form content?
Because you're not paying for a chair in a room. You're paying for inference. You're paying for a massive server farm to essentially hallucinate every single pixel 24 times a second for 50 minutes straight. That is an immense amount of energy and computation.
But it's not just the raw compute, is it? This brings us to the hidden costs.
Yeah.
This is the part of the research that really made it all click for me. It's what you called the refinement penalty.
This is the absolute killer. This is why that $1,500 estimate might actually be conservative.
Oh, okay. Break it down for me.
Remember we said retakes are free in a studio?
Yep. Pin on the wall.
In generative AI, retakes are billable events.
Ouch.
Think of an AI video generator like a slot machine. You put your money in this case, your credits, and you pull the lever by writing a prompt. Two people talking in a futuristic podcast studio, cinematic lighting.
And the AI spits out a clip.
But that clip is rarely perfect on the first try. Maybe the lighting is all weird and green. Maybe the host's hand passes right through the microphone. Maybe the eye contact is just glitchy.
So you have to fix it.
But you can't just fix it like you would on a film set. You have to re-roll. You change the prompt, you spend more credits, and you generate the whole clip again.
So if I need a 1-minute segment and I have to generate it 3 times to get it to look right.
You have just paid for 3 minutes of compute time.
Wow. That is the slot machine cost.
Yeah.
You are literally paying for your own mistakes.
Or, more accurately, you're paying for the AI's mistakes. You're paying for the machine's learning curve. And in a 50-minute narrative, you are going to have dozens, maybe hundreds of these little moments that need tweaking.
So that $30 per minute estimate, that's not for the final minute. That's factoring in all the waste.
Exactly. That's a fundamental shift in mindset. In the studio, if I stumble, I laugh, I reset, I go again. Cost 0. In AI, if the machine stumbles, I pay.
Precisely. And the meter is always running. There are other penalties, too. The resolution penalty.
Oh, yeah, I saw this in the LTX source.
In a physical studio, you turn on a 4K camera. It costs the same to record in 4K as it does to record in 720p. The electricity bill is the same.
But AI charges you.
It charges a massive premium for pixels. Generating video in 4K requires so much more processing power compared to HD. So your credit burn rate can double or triple just because you want a sharp image.
And then there's the complexity penalty.
Right. A simple talking head against a white background is relatively cheap to compute.
But if you want a complex scene, say you want that podcast to take place in a bustling cyberpunk coffee shop with neon lights reflecting off wet pavement and people moving in the background.
The AI has to think a lot harder.
Exactly. And that intricate prompt burns through your budget way faster.
It feels like the whole subscription model is almost designed to hide this reality. You look at a pricing page, you see, Pro Plan, $200 a month. And you think, great, I'm covered. That's my budget.
That is the subscription cap trap.
The trap.
Look at the fine print on those Pro plans. They almost always have credit limits. You might get, say, 250 credits a month for that $200.
Which sounds like a lot of credits.
It sounds like a lot until you realize that a single 10-second 4K clip might cost you 40 credits.
Oh, wow. Okay, do the math on that.
If you are trying to produce a 50-minute episode,
Yeah.
you are going to burn through that entire monthly pool in the first 6 or 7 minutes of your show.
And then what happens? You're just stuck with a 7-minute video.
Then you are forced into the pay-as-you-go overage rates to finish the episode. And those rates are almost always much higher than the subscription rate you signed up for.
So you're hooked into $200, but to actually ship the final product, you end up spending that $1,500.
Correct. You're not just paying for the subscription, you're paying for the friction that it takes to actually finish a long-form project.
This completely flips the script on the whole AI is cheap narrative. It really seems like AI is cheap if you're short, but incredibly expensive if you're long.
That is the golden rule right here.
Yeah.
Length exposes the true cost structure.
So does this mean we just write off AI entirely? Because the sources did offer a pretty robust defense for when you should use these tools.
Oh, absolutely. We're not Luddites here. We're just doing the accounting. There are specific use cases where AI just completely wipes the floor with a studio like Voxel.
Scale seems to be the really big one.
If you need scale, AI is unbeatable. One source mentioned that companies are using AI to localize content into 150 languages.
Right. I can't do that in the studio. I can't speak 150 languages. Even if I rented Voxel for a whole year, I couldn't do that.
Exactly. Or what if you need to make 50 different 1-minute clips for social media? Or personalized sales outreach, where you need to say, hi, John, hi, Sarah, hi, Mike, 300 times.
The vidBoard source mentioned a 300% higher response rate for that kind of personalized video.
And that's a clear win for AI. The setup cost for a human to sit there and record 300 different names is immense. The setup cost for AI is just typing a spreadsheet.
And, of course, for any visuals that are just impossible to film.
Right. If you need a shot of your podcast taking place on the surface of Mars, AI is going to be cheaper than building a Mars set.
But for the core product we started with,
Yeah.
for that 50-minute conversation where 2 people are trying to connect.
The defense for Voxel is purely mathematical. For long-form narrative, paying for time in the room is just superior. You get authenticity, you get nuanced emotional performance, and you get it for a flat, predictable rate.
It's the difference between paying for a canvas versus paying for every single stroke of the paintbrush.
That is a great analogy. With Voxel, you rent the canvas, paint as much as you want. With AI, every stroke costs you a credit, and if you don't like the stroke, you have to pay again to paint over it.
And I think there's a final visual output comparison we need to make. We touched on the uncanny valley, but the Voxel output is, well, it's real.
It is. It's 4K studio quality with actual physical depth. Even the best AI, like VO3, is still described as prompt-based visuals. It's getting better, for sure, but the sources note that for authentic connection, the kind you need to hold a listener for 50 minutes, real humans are still the premium asset.
So if we just lay out the final verdict, it's pretty stark.
It is. If you are physically present and can get to a studio like Voxel, you're looking at $30 to maybe $140. Flat rate. $0 retakes. Real human connection.
Versus the high-end cinematic AI.
Which is roughly $1,500 for the same 50-minute duration. Paper generation, expensive retakes, synthetic output.
It's basically a 10 times cost difference.
Yep. For long form, AI is roughly 10x the price of the physical alternative.
That is just wild. We always assume the future is cheaper, but in this specific case, the old school method of just being there is the real budget hack.
It's a fascinating version of the typical tech story, isn't it? Usually, hardware is expensive and software is cheap. Here, the studio has become a commodity. It's cheap, while the software, the compute, is the luxury good.
So what does this all mean for you, the listener? If you're planning that podcast for 2026, don't just look at the monthly subscription fee. Look at the per-minute reality.
And ask yourself, what is the cost of my mistakes? In a studio, mistakes are free. In AI, mistakes are billable.
I love that. Mistakes are billable. That is definitely going to stick with me.
It changes how you budget for everything.
Before we wrap up, I just want to leave you with one final thought. We've talked a lot about cost, but there's a deeper value question here too.
Definitely.
As AI generation inevitably gets cheaper, and it will, Moore's Law isn't dead, will the premium label itself start to shift? Right now, we value video based on resolution or lighting quality.
But if AI can make perfect 8K video for pennies eventually, which is the trajectory we're on,
then maybe the luxury good becomes reality itself.
I think that's exactly where we're heading. We might reach a point where the most expensive, most premium content is premium simply because you can prove a human was actually in the room.
Is reality the next luxury good? That is something to chew on.
It puts a whole new value on just showing up.
Huge thanks to all the sources for this one. Voxel for the studio data and the pricing reports on LTX, vidBoard, and DeepBrain AI for the digital side. This has been a real eye-opener on the economics of creation.
Always a pleasure to crunch the numbers.
And to you, the learner, thanks for diving deep with us. Whether you're booking a studio or prompting a generator, make sure you know what you're really paying for. We'll catch you on the next deep dive.
See you then.